Hello everyone and welcome back to the Fantasy Football Fix YouTube channel and to another episode of Eddie versus the algorithm, where we'll be putting the computer generated free hit team up against my own that I've generated to see which can score the most points this time in game week 29. In game week 28 I managed to narrowly outscore the algorithm. There were a few differential options that came through for me. It was a while ago now, but Pedro Porro, Alex Moreno, these types of options that I took a bit of a risk on did end up paying off in the end. So we'll move into that, carry some momentum into game week 29. And with a double game week on the horizon, we're going to see an over 100 predicted point score for this algorithm team, which I'm about to show you now. So yeah, as mentioned, this is the team the algorithm has gone with, and it's predicted it to score over 100 points, only just 101 points, as you can see at the bottom of your screen. But we'll get straight into things and have a look at the highest projected scoring keeper. It's going to be Kepa Arrizabalaga, the one making it into this side, with two home fixtures for Chelsea in the form of Aston Villa and Liverpool as those two fixtures. Now, Kepa, whilst they might not have the greatest clean sheet odds, Chelsea going up against two pretty difficult teams in Villa and Liverpool, you really have to think that Kepa has those other routes to points, with the bonus points and the save points going in his favour more than keepers from other sides will do. Teams like Brighton and West Ham have higher clean sheet odds than Chelsea in this game week, but Kepa, as mentioned, has those other perks, whereas someone like a Steele, if he's in goal for Brighton, or Areola for West Ham, might not have such other routes to points as Kepa does have. So that's where the algorithm's gone with him, I'm thinking. There is another goalkeeper down on the bench as well that we're going to see in a minute. So if you're on a bench boost and looking for two optimal keepers, those are going to be the two the algorithm's gone with when we get to that and revealing the bench players. But quickly we'll move into the defence then and have a look at the back three that is lining up in the algorithm side. It's going to be Ben Chilwell, Estepinian, and then Trippier as well. So really, really nice looking back line, of course, with three double game week players. Doubling up on the Chelsea defence is interesting with those Aston Villa and Liverpool fixtures, which, as mentioned, aren't going to be the easiest double in the world. But there aren't really many teams with a superb set of fixtures in this double game week that look really, really attractive. It is just a massive double game week where lots of teams do have doubles. Another one of those teams is Brighton, and Estepinian is the defender of choice that the algorithm has gone for. Now, there was a little bit of debate around whether Estepinian is going to be back in time for game week 29. I haven't seen too many updates on that as of late, so I'm assuming that everything's going to be okay and he'll be available for when Brighton play their first game against Brentford in this double. But they've also got a really nice fixture away at Bournemouth as well, which is one of the best fixtures of this double game week. And Estepinian's attacking numbers and underlying data as of late has been really, really strong, so I can see why the algorithm has decided to go there. And then Kieran Trippier, a very obvious pick, solid data throughout the season, a double game week, can't really see a reason to go without Kieran Trippier in this game week. We've then got our midfield five, and there are a lot of good midfield options this week, so I'm excited to see what the algorithm has gone for, and it's stuck the captain's armband, as we saw yesterday, on the highest predicted point scorer of the game week. That is Solly March on 9.2 predicted points, and that's from the quick guide video yesterday. If you want to go and check out the rest of the top 10, then you can do so via the channel. We've then got Salah, Maddison, Bowen and Matoma as the others, so the Brighton triple up is complete with these two midfielders coming in. March and Matoma overgoing for someone like a McAllister. We saw, again, Matoma's predicted points is higher than McAllister's. Whether that's due to because there's some data from game week 23 and before getting mixed in with since McAllister has moved to that number 10 position behind the striker. We have to consider that as a possibility. I personally prefer McAllister just a little bit, but Matoma has never really been one to have incredible underlying stats anyway. He seems to be more of an eye test player, and it just depends what type of FPL manager you are, I suppose, and what you find most attractive in an asset. Is it going to be the stats, or is it going to be how you're judging players when you're watching them in game, like Matoma, for example? We've then got Maddison and Bowen, so two rather mid-priced midfielders. Bowen's an interesting one, and we saw him in the predicted points yesterday as well. A bit of a discussion here, a bit of a change that's going to be in my team is going to be going for a different West Ham midfielder, who I do like the look of, but West Ham arguably have one of the strongest sets of fixtures. They've got two home games, and one of them being against Southampton, albeit the second one with a pretty tough game against Newcastle. I think that's a nice double for West Ham, and another perk of them, if you don't have a free hit left, is that in game week 32, they don't blank, like teams like Brighton, Manchester United, all these other sides are going to do. West Ham have a fixture in that game week where many managers who have the free hit left don't need to consider that. If you don't have your chip left, you do need to make sure you're not bringing in too many players so that you won't have anyone playing when the blank game week does come around in 3 game weeks' time. Maddison is one I really do like the look of this game week. Crystal Palace and Aston Villa, not a bad set of fixtures at all. I think he's due, if we're going to use that term. He's not really got anything in the last couple of game weeks when perhaps he should have done, and the underlying data has looked very good. Even if you put him up against someone like a Bruno Fernandes, Maddison really does hold his own, and I'd be looking to transfer him, and I think he looks a decent option, especially if you want to save some money in the bank to bring Erling Haaland back in, and you're looking for an alternative to the more expensive Bruno Fernandes. Maddison could definitely be your guy. And then finally, it's going to be Salah. He's the final man coming into this five-man midfield. Manchester City and Chelsea, two really difficult fixtures, to be honest. But I think Liverpool, if they can find that kind of form where we know they're inconsistent, but if they come out of their shell for these two games, they revert to the old Liverpool that we know, we could see some big scores for Mo Salah. His underlying data is always looking the best of pretty much all midfielders in the game, so it's hard to look past him. And when he's got a good fixture in game week 32 as well, or any fixture, to be honest, looks pretty good when many top teams are blanking. As mentioned, Salah does look a great transfer in, especially if you don't have that free hit chip left remaining. And then finally, up front, we're going to see a front two of Ivan Toney and Ollie Watkins. Now, Toney, the yellow card thing, we do need to watch it, could get suspended for the second game. And on top of that, Brentford don't have the best fixtures in the world. Their attacking data does look a little bit worse for wear away from home, and they've got two away games against two pretty tough sides, you'd have to say. Brighton, especially Manchester United without Casemiro, might be a bit of an easier game, and you could back Toney in that one. But he might well be suspended. If he gets a yellow card in the first game, he's going to get a suspension, and that is the slight risk you're taking. I wouldn't be transferring in Toney now, but if you have him, then there's no reason to not hold on to him. Ollie Watkins is the other forward option. Again, two away fixtures, and not the easiest set to go for either. But Aston Villa are a team that do have that game in game week 32 as well. So Watkins has been in fine form as of late, scoring quite a lot of goals in consecutive matches. He looks like a decent forward option if you want to pick him up. And then we'll mention the bench, as we saw before. Trent Alexander-Arnold is down there for Liverpool. Again, another player. Those Liverpool players are playing in game week 32. Just one thing to look forward to in the future if you are preparing to plan your transfers. I know it's not really relevant when we're talking about a free hit, but I do think it is important to stress for you guys. We've then got Fabian Schär, another Newcastle defensive option, and then Dominic Solanke, who could be a more differential pick if you're looking for some serious ranked games. Bournemouth have two home fixtures against Fulham and Brighton, not a bad set of games at all. And then David Raya is that goalkeeper down on the bench, the one with Kepa Arrizabalaga that the algorithm is predicting to be the two highest scoring keepers of the game week. We'll move into my team then and have a look at how my points totals differ. And it is quite a significant jump down to 86 predicted points, but I think that is partly because Marcus Rashford, who I've put my captain's armband on, is currently flagged with an injury. And, I'm taking, I suppose, what you could call a bit of a risk by going with him and putting the captain's armband there on Marcus Rashford. I personally don't think his injury is anything to worry about at all. I think he will play both games in the double. We've got press conferences to try and confirm that, but for now, Rashford is in my team and he's definitely taking the captain's armband. I really wanted to squeeze Bruno Fernandes in here as well and go with a triple up alongside Luke Shaw, who's also come into my side, but I just quite couldn't afford to go there with only the 5 midfield slots available. I wanted those two Brighton assets in the midfield. I've gone with McAllister and March, who I mentioned are my favourites. Wanted to stick with Salah and Maddison as well. I've switched out Toney up front just for that slight yellow card risk. I've gone with Kai Havertz instead for Chelsea's two home fixtures. They've been in a bit of better form, improving lately. Havertz, he's on penalties as well. He's got that going in his favour. So yeah, I've gone for Havertz over going for Toney, who's dropped down onto the bench just because I had extra funds, so why not put him there? And then finally, in goal, I've gone with a different option. I've gone with Steele, just so I can afford to go with Shaw in defence, because I was currently on this kind of same back line with Estupiñán in there. But I've gone with Shaw and then used the goalkeeper slot on Steele. I think Brighton, with those clean sheet odds, and Steele now looking the favoured goalkeeper, that's the most efficient way of doing things and getting it sorted. But as mentioned, United blank in game week 32. So if you're looking forward and looking at transfers in this week, Shaw looks a great move. But most importantly, if you've got the free hit, he looks a better move than if you don't have one left. Don't be bringing in too many Manchester United players and ripping your team up for a team that don't play a few game weeks down the line. But that's going to wrap up Eddie versus the algorithm for game week 29. I appreciate I put a lot of emphasis on a future game week as well, but do consider that when making your own transfers. I don't think too many people are actually using the free hit this week. The bench boost seems to be the most popular chip of choice. But yeah, let me know down below in the comments, who do you think is going to come out on top, Team Eddie or Team Algorithm? Comment down below, and we'll see if you can predict it right when we recap next game week for game week 30. Wish you the best of luck for game week 29, everyone. I hope your bench boost goes well, and if you're not bench boosting, then I hope you don't drop too far in rank. Maybe you'll even get a green arrow. There's not really anything to lose if you're not playing your bench boost this week. Just have your expectations a little bit low, and you never know, it might all pay off for you and work out. Best of luck for this game week, everyone. I'll see you soon. Goodbye.